In tonight's editorial, Peter Mallory takes on local political events.
Well, I really hate doing this editorial tonight, but I feel like I have to in the sake of fairness. Now, Selwyn Scarborough is the registrar. Well, I read in the paper where she retired last Friday. Now, Selwyn does election stuff, registration, absentee ballots, and such. Well, the board of that kind of thing, or the board that is in charge of that kind of thing, is the election board, and they met this morning and interviewed Selwyn about why she was leaving. And she told them, according to the newspaper, that she thought the probate office had lost its credibility. However, we reviewed the tape and never heard her say that on the tape. She also said that Donald Boyd was campaigning in the office. Well, now here is a tidbit for you. We ran a news story about 2 weeks ago about the misspelling on the ballot of Chris Cleveland's name. Now, to get the ballots reprinted would cost the taxpayers $9,000. So the way I understand it, Chris at first said, "Don't worry about it," and then he changed his mind. And I really don't blame him too much for that. But the point is this. The registrar, Selwyn Scarborough, told me personally the next day after we ran that news story on the ballots that she knew the name was misspelled on the ballot on September 29th. And this was prior to the printing of the ballots. And she did not tell anybody because, and she said, and I quote, "It was not my job." Well, if a county employee who is handling registration and absentee ballots does not think saving the county $9,000 on an election is their job, then I say we have a serious breakdown somewhere over there at the Palace on Dallas. Now, I want to ask you, if you had an employee in your business and that happened, what would you do? I would like for the elections board to reconvene and ask Mrs. Scarborough if what she told me was indeed the truth. And if it was, I think the election board ought to take the appropriate action. If this is the truth, I say, we will not have more efficient county government, and we cannot cut the fat with this type of county employee mentality. I call on the Troup County commissioners to get off their dingus and launch an investigation into this thing and do something. Just do something. Every single one of the commissioners has said, "Let's cut the fat." Well, boys, get your knife out. That's the way I see it. I'm Peter Mallory.
Good night, everybody. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Filling in for Renee Willis, I'm Linda Lynch. In tonight's news, could Registrar Selwyn Scarborough have saved the county money by speaking up about misspelled ballots? And LaGrange police are looking for 2 robbery suspects.
I'm Peter Mallory, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty weekend. Slight chance of rain. Had a little slight this afternoon, a couple of raindrops. The real rain is supposed to come in next week. Stay tuned. I'll have all the details coming up in the weather.
Plus, we'll take a final look at the candidates for the Georgia State House of Representatives, District 131, coming up next on TV 33 News. In brief tonight, a 13-year-old boy that was kidnapped last April on Truett Avenue said he felt like he was going to die. The boy was walking to a friend's house when a man stopped his car and offered him a ride. When the man attempted to molest the boy got out of the car and ran away. Samuel Humphrey Sr. is on trial in the case, indicted on charges of kidnapping, child molestation, enticing a child for indecent purposes, and possession of a gun during a crime. And to provide a quick fix in the conflict of interest case in the registrar's office, the probate office in the county administration building will be divided by L-shaped partitions. The configuration of the probate office makes an actual separation impossible. The LaGrange Daily News reported today that Registrar Selwyn Scarborough knew about a misspelling on the Troup County ballots on September 29th. According to the article, Scarborough did not tell anyone because she did not want the county to incur any additional expense. The probate's office reported to TV 33 today that the ballots were not actually printed until October 11th, 12 full days after Registrar Scarborough noticed the misspelling. Reprinting the ballots cost about $9,000. The LaGrange Police Department needs your help in locating 2 home invasion and robbery suspects. Detective Eric Lohr has more.
We're looking for help from the community in helping us identify one of the suspects involved in a robbery that occurred at 1.5 New Street early Monday morning. During the robbery, 2 black males came to the residence, knocked on the door. When the victim opened the door, one of them put a gun to her stomach. Then they forced her into her bedroom and held her there at gunpoint while they ransacked her house, took several items out of the house, including money. Some of the items we were able to recover a short time after in an abandoned car located in the Winn-Dixie parking lot. We were able to get a composite on one of the suspects, who appears to be a dark-skinned black male, approximately 6 foot to 6'2" in height, 160 to 180 pounds. Short hair, real short hair, appears to be clean-shaven. Anybody that has any information about this suspect or the robbery itself is urged to call Crime Stoppers at 812-1000, Emergency 911, or the LaGrange Police Department at 883-2603.
The race for Georgia State Representative District 131 features Democrat Carl Von Epps, the incumbent, versus Republican Charles Neely. The race has been heated at times. Here are the thoughts by each candidate on why they should be elected state representative. First, Carl Von Epps.
I have 8 years experience in the Georgia House of Representatives. Have come to learn and know a lot of the elected officials on a local, state, and federal level by a first-name basis. And that's out of respect for them and respect they have for me. I compare sometimes my 8 years in the House with my 8 years from 9th grade to my graduation from Morehouse College. Do you want a freshman in high school an equivalent freshman in high school who has no experience, no basic knowledge of the political process representing you, or do you want a compassionate, caring individual who has the concerns for all the citizens of the 131st District? If you say the latter, I would suggest that you go to the polls, take time out of your busy schedule, and vote for Carl Von Epps so that I may continue to vote for and work for you.
Charles Neely is Epps's Republican challenger. Here are his comments on why he believes you should vote for him.
To the voters, I have been going door to door trying to meet each and every one of you from District 131, and hopefully in the next week or so I will be through. Mr. Epps has been in office for 8 years. The fox has been guarding the hen house, and we need to send him back to his liquor store in LaGrange and let someone who will look after your interest. One of only 4 counties, one representative out of 4 counties voted for House Bill 1187. The other representatives and senators of this area voted against it, and I applaud them for that. What we need to do is make sure that our teachers are quit being treated like stepchildren. We need to make sure that they have the tools they need to educate our children. It is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. It is our children is at stake, their future is at stake. And please vote for me on November 7th. Thank you.
The 2 candidates met 2 years ago in the same race, and Epps's margin of victory was about 500 votes. The Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity will hold its 45th annual Georgia District Conference in LaGrange this weekend. Ronnie Jenkins, the district director, tells us more.
The theme of the conference is building relationships in the new millennium. This represents our logo that shows the state of Georgia and pyramids. And basically what we're going to have is the leadership of the District of Georgia, all the alphas in the state who are directors of the boards and coordinators and chair of various committees will come in to talk about what they've done this year in regards to their community service. Also receive training in terms of how to conduct some of these programs in terms of improving the quality of them. Many of the programs we'll be discussing will be such as Project Alpha, which is our male involvement program in teenage pregnancy prevention, one of only one in the country.
Alpha Phi Alpha was the first Greek letter fraternity for men of African descent. The theme of the conference is Building Better Relationships for the New Millennium. Well, a few raindrops fell in the TV 33 viewing area this afternoon. Are we in for more rain for the weekend? Stay tuned. Peter Mallory is up next with the weather. But first, here's a rundown of local stocks sponsored by Sonova Securities at CBNT.